My child, you have arrived at a sacred crossing point in your eternal journey. Yet, if you choose to step back before these words reach their completion, you will abandon the very treasures that hold the power to unlock your long-awaited victory. I have concealed the complete and perfect response to the cry of your heart, the one that has kept you awake in the quiet hours, in the closing breaths of this very message. This truth is set apart exclusively for those with the courage to remain until the end. Do not withdraw now, for the courts of heaven have deliberately chosen this precise music instant to release a divine unveiling that will powerfully redirect the entire path before you. You have successfully completed a trial that most never even recognized they were undergoing. Where countless others faltered and fell aside, you stood firm with quiet resolve. While many chose to abandon the pursuit, you remained steadfast and unwavering. This encounter has been carefully preserved and set apart solely for the faithful remnant who refused to surrender, who pressed forward when it would have been easier to retreat. It was woven into the fabric of your divine purpose long ago that these words would find you, not through random coincidence or fleeting luck, but because the almighty hand of heaven appointed this holy instant, specifically music, for your ears and your spirit. I have guided the currents of time itself and ordered every footstep of your life to lead you directly into this moment of divine listening. Do not turn aside, beloved one, for within these lines rests the hidden blueprint for your coming season, the unfolding of profound secrets that can only be entrusted to those whose hearts have proven true. My child, you have overcome challenges that were never announced to the world, silent struggles invisible to every human eye, and fierce conflicts that unknown even to those closest to you. When others misinterpreted your quiet demeanor as indifference, I was carefully observing the depth of your perseverance. When the world mistook your steady composure for frailty or defeat, I was faithfully documenting each instance when you deliberately selected trust over music, terror, expectation over disappointment, and steadfast endurance over growing bitterness.
Come to me, all who are weary.
Paused in place. I witnessed the raging tempests you battled through, fighting with everything within you simply to stay upright and continue onward. You might not fully comprehend it in this moment, but you have now passed over a boundary line that very few possess the boldness to cross. You have demonstrated that your belief runs far deeper than surface level. It does not depend merely on seasons of comfort, bright skies, or effortless circumstances. Instead, your faith is firmly secured in something far more substantial, anchored securely in me, your Lord, who has faithfully accompanied you through every shadowed valley and unseen wilderness. There were countless nights when you felt your earnest prayers dissolving into emptiness, when you poured out your soul in the darkness and wondered if any response would ever come. There were nights when you lifted your weary eyes to the ceiling, wondering if heaven was closed against you, wondering if I had turned my face away from your suffering. But I tell you right now, not a single prayer was ignored. Not a single cry went unheard. Not a single tear rolled down your cheek without being caught in the hollow of my hands. I felt the trembling of your spirit. I measured the weight of your sorrow. Your hidden pain became a fragrance of pure worship before me. Your silence when you could have complained bitterly. Your trust when you could have entirely given up. Your perseverance when you could have abandoned the path altogether. These became the great testimonies of your victory. You thought you were simply surviving the day, but I was watching you overcome the world. You believed you were barely holding on, your fingers slipping from the edge, but I was quietly strengthening your grip so that no enemy in this universe could loosen it. You felt entirely forgotten by those around you, but in truth you were being set apart by me. You felt unseen by the crowds, but in truth you were being marked as chosen by heaven. The fire you endured was not sent for your destruction. It was the fire that refined you. It was the furnace that separated the pure gold from the useless dust. It was the sacred testing that proved the absolute depth of your devotion to me. While others turned back when the road grew steep, you pressed forward. While others abandoned hope when the shadows lengthened, you clung to it. While others listened to the loud, chaotic lies of the enemy, you clung to my quiet promises, even when they seemed terribly far away. You may think your strength was small. You may look back and see only your moments of exhaustion. But I say to you today, your strength was mighty because it was entirely anchored in me. I was the one who held you up when your knees buckled beneath the weight of your trials. I was the one who breathed fresh life into your lungs when your hope grew faint and thin. I was the one, music, who whispered gently in the silence when you thought all comforting voices had gone quiet forever. I was your unseen companion in the wilderness, your unbreakable shield in the terrified night,
I am here with you
your
now.
fierce defender when absolutely no one came to rescue you. Every unseen battle that you fought in the quiet chambers of your heart has been recorded in the halls of heaven as a resounding victory. And now, my precious child, I declare this truth over you. You have passed the test. You did not know the full heavyweight of what was happening to you, but I knew. You did not understand why you had to walk through such violent, relentless storms, but I understood the necessity of the rain. You thought you were being punished for past mistakes, but you were actually being prepared for future glory. You thought you were being broken into unfixable pieces, but you were being built into an unshakable fortress. Every test of your patience was shaping a flawless endurance. Every test of your silence was deepening a profound trust. Every single unanswered prayer was teaching your soul to anchor in my perfect timing rather than your own rushed desires. You have emerged from this wilderness stronger, brighter, more steadfast, and far more unshakable than you could ever imagine. When you stood in the middle of devastating loss, I saw the raw courage beating in your heart. When you faced the bitter sting of betrayal, I saw the unyielding loyalty of your spirit to my ways. When you endured crippling loneliness, I saw the beautiful faithfulness of your soul. Every hardship you faced became a platform for heaven to witness your loyalty. Every deep disappointment became a holy altar where your trust was proven absolutely genuine. While the blind world measured you by outward appearances and material success, I measured you by your invisible faith. And now, my beloved, I call you victorious. I call you this not because of your perfection, not because you never stumbled or scraped your knees, but because you never, ever quit. If you know I am your only true answer, declare the name of Jesus into the atmosphere right now and proclaim it where all the faithful can see as a banner of your devotion. You are chosen, my child. Chosen not by random accident, not by the fickle opinions of men, but by my eternal, unchangeable will. Before the very foundations of the earth were laid, I knew this exact day would come. Before you took your first breath of air, I knew you would stand right here, weary, but ultimately victorious. Scarred from the battle, but exponentially stronger. Humble to the dust, yet completely unshaken in your core. The enemy tried with all his might to disqualify you, but I have qualified you with my own blood. The world tried to silence your voice, but I have placed a new, unstoppable song in your mouth. The darkness tried to swallow you whole, but I have clothed you in blinding, radiant light. And now all of heaven celebrates you, for you did not fail the test in the wilderness. You passed. Think back to the nights you cried entirely alone in the dark. Think of the mornings you woke up with a crushing heaviness pressing relentlessly against your chest. Think of the long stretching days when you desperately wanted to give up, but chose by sheer willpower and faith to stand instead. Do you not see it yet? Those moments were your proving grounds. Those were the sacred hidden tests no one else could ever see or evaluate. Every tired sigh of surrender to my will, every whispered fragile prayer of hope, every tear that fell heavily when no one else was watching, those were your great victories. They were not wasted moments of weakness. They were permanent marks of triumph etched forever into the fabric of eternity. You have spent so much time wondering why your journey was harder than the journeys of those around you. You wondered why your doors closed so tightly, why people you loved left so abruptly, why your battles seemed unending while others walked paths of ease. But I tell you this, my child, your path was different because your calling is entirely different. I set you apart not for common ordinary things, but for an uncommon extraordinary purpose. I refined you not for small ordinary victories, but for massive extraordinary assignments that will shake the very ground you walk on. You could not walk the easy paved road because I was busy preparing you for a far greater destiny. That is exactly why I allowed storms that others never face. It is why I allowed silence that others never had to endure. It is why I permitted battles that others never had to fight. For I was actively building within you a formidable strength that the world cannot take away, a resilience that hell itself cannot break. And now you stand before me as one who has fully endured, one who has gloriously triumphed, one who has passed through the fire and come out pure. You may still feel terribly weak in your own bones, but I declare you fiercely strong. You may still feel completely unworthy in your own mind, but I declare you perfectly chosen. You may still feel deeply uncertain about your future, but I declare your every step divinely ordered. Nothing in your past was wasted. Nothing was in vain. Every pain, every delay, every closed door was a critical part of the divine preparation that marks you as completely mine. So hear my voice clearly today. You are not just another nameless soul wandering aimlessly through this life. You are my chosen one. You are my deeply beloved, set apart specifically for such a time as this. You are the sacred vessel I have painstakingly prepared. You are the brave warrior I have meticulously strengthened. You are the brilliant light I have intentionally ignited in the very midst of the deepest darkness. The world around you will not understand your journey, but heaven understands it perfectly. The enemy cannot comprehend the depth of your new strength, but I know the vast ocean of it. You are chosen not because of your flawless perfection, but because of your relentless persistence. You are chosen not because of your natural strength, but because of your beautiful, willing surrender to me. Every hidden trial you endured has now become a powerful testimony. Every unseen tear you dropped has now become an incorruptible seed of immense joy. Every silent, desperate prayer has now become a loud declaration of undisputed victory. You stand today not as one forgotten in the shadows, but as one celebrated in the absolute highest realms. All of heaven knows your name. All of heaven has watched your journey with bated breath, and I, your Lord, declare proudly over you, well done, my faithful child. You have passed. My child, I know intimately the nights when you felt the suffocating weight of loneliness pressing against you, sitting against your heart like a heavy, immovable stone. You looked around your life and saw absolutely no one who could understand the profound depth of your pain. There was no one who could truly carry the invisible burdens that sat silently, crushingly on your shoulders. You walked into rooms completely filled with people, and yet you still felt entirely invisible. You still felt forgotten. You still felt like no one in the world could truly see the real you. But I want you to hear me with absolute clarity today. I saw you. I saw you in every single moment of aching isolation. I heard every breath where you whispered bitterly to yourself, "No one cares about me." Even in those moments, I was standing closer to you than your very breath. Loneliness was never the final truth of your story. It was simply the quiet, stripped away place where I leaned in closely to remind you that you were never, ever abandoned. Not for a single fleeting heartbeat. I remember the betrayals, my precious child. I remember the sharp, agonizing moments when those you trusted most deeply turned their backs and walked away. I remember when words you thought were safe and loving suddenly became cruel daggers aimed at your heart. I remember when promises that were spoken over you with a smile crumbled instantly into useless dust. You wept and asked me why people you loved so deeply and served so faithfully could wound you so greatly. You wondered in the dark if the betrayal was a cosmic sign that you were fundamentally unworthy of loyalty. You tortured yourself thinking that perhaps there was something deeply wrong within you. But I say to you now with all the authority of heaven, it was not because you were unworthy. Not at all. It was because I was desperately teaching you that your true worth cannot be built upon the shifting, unstable sands of human approval. I allowed those painful betrayals to cut away the shallow, fragile attachments of your life so that your roots could grow impossibly deep in me. While people walked away, I stayed right by your side. While others lied to your face, I spoke eternal truth into your spirit. While they wounded your heart, I moved in to heal your soul. I never abandoned you, even when the roaring pain of your circumstances screamed far louder than my gentle presence. I was there, holding the pieces of your breaking heart together. If your heart is moved to support this fellowship of believers because our sacred mission is to fill your life with heavenly joy and guide you toward deeper devotion, bring forth your offering of gratitude. Plant a seed of love where it is welcomed to help us carry this light further into the darkness. You have faced terrible confusion. You walked through long, exhausting seasons when absolutely nothing made any sense. Seasons when every single step forward seemed only to push you deeper into a thick, suffocating fog of uncertainty. You asked desperate questions that seemed to echo back into a mocking silence. Why this? Why now? Why me? You cried out in anguish. You thought perhaps you had made a terrible wrong turn somewhere. You feared that perhaps you had fallen completely outside of my protective will. But I assure you today, every confusing season, every blinding fog was still completely under my sovereign control. Confusion is not the absence of my guiding hand. It is the very forge where unbreakable faith is made. I purposefully allowed you to walk through those disorienting music shadows so that you would learn to trust me far beyond what your physical eyes could see. When you could not find the answers you sought, I was patiently teaching you to cling to the answer himself. Music, when clarity was completely hidden from view, I was deepening your absolute reliance on me, stripping away your reliance on your own limited understanding. Your confusion was never a punishment. It was your necessary preparation. And yes, my beloved, I remember the hopelessness. I remember the dark, heavy days when you woke up with absolutely no strength to rise from your bed. When the future stretching before you seemed like a massive, impenetrable wall too high to ever climb. When despair whispered constantly in your ear that nothing would ever change, that you were doomed to this pain forever. I know the physical heaviness that sat upon your chest, making it hard to breathe. I remember the countless sleepless nights when hot tears burned your eyes until the sun came up. I remember the mornings when you forced yourself to put on a brave smile for the world, even though your heart was breaking into pieces inside. You thought perhaps even I had grown weary of your struggles. You feared that I had finally turned my face away from you in disappointment. But I want you to know the absolute truth. Every quiet sigh of despair reached my ears like a trumpet blast. Every silent internal cry thundered loudly in my throne room. Every tear that fell from your eyes was tenderly caught in my hands. Hopelessness was simply the dark canvas upon which I was preparing to paint a masterpiece of hope. Even when you could not see it, I was working. I was never blind to your agonizing pain. I was never deaf to your desperate cries. I was never absent from your profound brokenness. You see, my child, every struggle you endured was completely purposeful. It was not wasted suffering. Your deep loneliness was teaching you how to tune out the world and hear my gentle whisper. Your painful betrayal was teaching you to rely completely on my unfailing faithfulness instead of flawed humanity. Your blinding confusion was teaching you to music rest securely in my infinite wisdom. Your crushing hopelessness was teaching you to cling desperately to my eternal promises when everything else gave way. Every trial was preparation. Every hardship was shaping your character. Every tear was watering the incredible seeds of destiny that I planted within you before time began. You thought you were being systematically destroyed by the world, but you were actually being masterfully built by heaven. You thought you were being entirely forgotten by those you loved, but you were being actively remembered and celebrated in the halls of heaven. When you wept in absolute silence, I was recording your sorrow. When you cried into your pillow deep in the night, I was translating your pain into prayers of eternity. When you stood trembling on the absolute edge of giving up entirely, I was the unseen force strengthening your legs to stand for just one more day. You did not endure a single second of this alone. You never walked a single solitary step without my presence beside you. Even in the darkest, most terrifying valleys, my steady hand was guiding you forward. Music, even when you could not sense my presence at all, I was surrounding you like a fortress. Even when despair, music, screamed much louder than hope, I was actively whispering unbreakable promises directly into your battered soul. Do you recall those specific moments when you thought you absolutely could not go on for another minute? Yet somehow, miraculously, you found the unexplainable strength to keep moving. That strength was me. Do you remember the times when a profound, illogical peace suddenly covered you like a warm blanket right in the absolute middle of chaos? That peace was me. Do you remember the times when you somehow smiled through your bitter tears, not even knowing why your heavy heart suddenly felt a fraction lighter? That joy was me. I was always there. I was your completely unseen companion. I was your silent, unwavering comfort. I was your constant, fierce defender against the forces of darkness. The blind world around you did not see the vast depth of your battle, but I saw every moment of it. Others may have